First order of business is the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Tom, celebrating success? Oh, Doug's got it. Okay.
It's not fancy. Oh, just a POA. Nope.
We good now? Yeah. Okay. Caitlin Atkins, could you come forward, please? Caitlin, we've been trying to keep this a secret from her, but she's a member of the HR department, and she's our recruiting coordinator in the HR department. Turn around so everybody can see you. And since day one, she's been the most pleasant and positive person around. If you come across Caitlin, she's always got a smile behind her mask, and you can tell that she's smiling behind her mask. But she's been a real pleasure to work with in the POA. How long have you been here?
10 months.
Yeah, so she's been a great addition to the HR department. We're pleased to have her. But I wanted to read an email that was sent to me by a manager from the F&B, Food and Beverage Division. I just wanted someone to know how helpful and awesome Caitlin has been. She's been an absolute godsend. She knows how busy everyone has been as of late, and she has tried to find whatever way she can to help us out. I call applicants and leave voicemails, schedule some interviews, and have trouble getting people to actually show up. Caitlin got an availability from me as far as when I can sit down with a candidate and interview them, and she has been helping me get interviews scheduled. I let her know that I don't get to the computer every day, so she will text me and call me for the things that need my immediate attention. Since she has been helping out with this, I have seen more applicants show up than ever before. I firmly believe without Caitlin, would we all still be struggling far worse to find some quality help for both restaurants. Thank you, Caitlin, for all your contributions to the POA, and on behalf of us, a certificate and a little bit of something for you. So congratulations.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Okay, I forgot to mention that Jackie Gain is joining us for her first meeting tonight remotely. So other than that, everybody is here. First meeting for Jan Hagan and J.B. Portillo. Next up is the approval of the minutes, the May 27, 2021 Board of Directors regular meeting. Do I have a motion to approve those minutes? Sherry Barron, second. Tia, are there any questions, additions, or corrections? In that case, all in favor, vote, signify by raising your hand. Jackie, are you a yes? Jackie raises her hand. Okay, it's unanimous. Second up, June 17th, 2021, board work session. Do I hear a motion?
So moved.
Tia, second? Second. Jan Hagan. Any additions, corrections? Okay, all in favor, raise your hand. That's unanimous. Next up, Jerry Barron will give a report of an executive session on June 10th, 2021.
The directors discussed the allegation of misconduct filed against Chair David Brandenburg. The allegations of misconduct cited alleged violations of policy 1.01, 1.06.6, 1.07, 1.10, 1.10.8, and 2.06. The allegations of misconduct also cited alleged violations of bylaws Article 3, Section 4, and 5C, and Article 4, Section 2E. Director Abb motioned and Director Bidwell seconded that Chair Brandenburg violated the policy and bylaws cited in the allegation of misconduct. The motion failed by a vote of 2-6 with Director Abb, Director Bidwell, Director Gaines, Director Hagan, Director Potillo, and Vice Chair Barron opposing.
Thank you, Jerry. Next up are the Joint Advisory Committee reports. First up is Recreation.
Good evening. My name is Chris Stockman from the Recreation team, obviously, and we met on the 14th of June here. Our regular business usually starts out with amenity reports, so I'll just go ahead and hit some of the highlights from that. So the first was the Branchwood area, and the pickleball courts have been very busy, and members are very happy about the new facility. Also, the same applies for the disc golf there on the weekends. Very busy with happy campers disc golfing. Moving over to the Loch Lomond Park area, the small dog park is now open for business. And some burnout lights were reported in the ball field, and they're on the maintenance schedule for replacement. And these are just the highlights, like I mentioned, from some of the different amenities. Tyree Park, it was requested that there's a PVC pipe near the shoreline that looks like it's a safety hazard. So that's making a list for getting looked at. Lake Avalon Park Beach has been very busy. And everyone said they love the new trail going through Blowing Springs up to Metfield. That's moving over to the RV park in Blowing Springs area. At Tanyard Creek, people may have noticed that that area has become extremely busy and the area is becoming a little bit stressed. So a committee member and Arkansas master naturalist, it's hard to get that out, is going to take a deep look at that and then report on that in the coming months with a special report with pictures and in-depth explanations and everything. Over at Rorden Hall, everything is looking good there, and people are glad that things are back to full capacity. The pool Kingsdale was reported by the staff that it had to be closed to visitors recently because of capacity. So that's probably something we're going to be needing to look at in the future as our community grows a lot. Under new business, the committee voted unanimously in favor of confirming 4 members to our open positions. They include Deborah Lukoch, Mary Jones, Macy Eccles, and Steve Gardner. And we recommend that the board confirm the same to get our committee back up to full speed in July. Moving over to some of the staff reports now, Rick Eccles mentions that there's a plan for lowering Loch Lomond this fall. The Lake Ann sinkhole remediation has generated a couple bids. They're trying for a third, and that Lake Ann will fluctuate a little bit while that is being worked on still. And the Rangers have made about 4,000 contacts recently. Also, he's working with Tanyard Creek volunteers and spraying some poison ivy and providing vegetation management at Loch Lomond. Staff reports. Joan Goblinski mentions that Metfield is seeing a lot of young households using the facility. There's talk of a security gate at the entrance for Blowing Springs Park and RV Park in 2022. The mini golf is well received in the Rorden area. And our committee recommended that we look into adding some signage for picking up equipment, the putters and balls and stuff. Again, trail usage has increased on the soft surface trails and the new Razorback extension. And that's really about it for the committee. We're going to meet again on Monday, the 19th of July. Thank you.
Thank you, Chris. Next up is golf. Jason?
Jason Lloyd, Golf Committee. Our meeting was June 9th, and a couple quick highlights because I know you got a full agenda. May rounds are up again over 17,000, and which is up over last year, and year to date up 3,700 over last year to date. Range buckets are over 22,000 year to date, which is up 6,200 from last year. Golf course crews continue to work diligently to repair the high traffic and weather damage that we had this over the winter, and things are improving thanks to the weather. So things are getting better out there. The June golf camp, junior golf camp, was full and a huge success. And I was just talking to Daryl a second ago, and July is full with a waiting list of 20-some kids. So we're trying to figure out how to make that all work. But so the junior golf camps have been going really good this summer, and the golf ops team's looking forward to next month's camp. All COVID restrictions will be lifted as of July 1. And I'd like to say thanks to Phil Spencer. He's served on the committee for the last 3 years, and he decided not to re-up. And with that being said, the committee voted unanimously to nominate to the board Ruth Hatcher to fill his role. And APT and WAPT is in full swing, no pun intended out there. Got a full field for the boys and the men and the ladies. I think there was around 80 golfers, so tomorrow they're going to be here. Guys cut today, and the girls will cut tomorrow and play here at the country club Saturday for the championship. And so enjoy the weather, go on the back patio, sip on a beverage, and watch the guys and gals come in. Our next meeting is July 14th at 4 right here in the boardroom. Any questions? Nope. Thanks, guys.
Thank you, Jason. And the Lakes Committee, I believe, Tom, you have that?
Yeah, Matt sent me a number of items he wanted me to cover for the Lakes Committee. Update on the Lake Ann sinkhole. We talked about that just a moment ago, but we're getting additional bids. The committee voted to recommend the lowering of Loch Lomond Lake this winter. Rick Yorman was nominated to serve another 3-year term for the committee, and Rick Eccles gave an overview of the fishing on Lake Windsor. Key takeaways negatively affecting bass fishing were an overabundance of small bass, lack of aquatic vegetation, and general downward trend in the lake cycle. Fishermen are encouraged to harvest smaller bass to ensure larger populations in the future. And that was it.
Thank you. I think if anybody has any more questions about that report from Rick about Lake Windsor, they can view on the web, our website.
Yeah, if they pull up the meeting, he gave an extensive review. It was very, very good.
Yeah. He knows what he's doing, apparently. He just keep the fish coming. Next up is financial reports. Stacy.
Am I on? Can you hear me? So as we started a few months ago, we kind of highlighted one area. And so tonight we're actually going to highlight the pro shops. So I'm going to let Daryl kind of start off talking a little bit about the pro shops and what's going on there.
Thank you, Stacey. Lots going on outside. We also got lots going on inside. So first of all, I want to give a shout out to everybody that sells product in this pro shops. And Leslie Terry, who is our merchandise manager, does a great job turning stuff over, getting a fresh new look every time, which is phenomenal. Have a look at our numbers real quickly. 219,000 year to date, budget of 134. That is 85,000 over. Phenomenal year right there. Better than last year by 93,000. Well, as we sell more, so cost of goods go up. So I didn't forecast that very good, but we're 58 behind on that, but that's how it works. Some of our top sellers right there, if we have a look, 6 of them real quick. Equipment sales, it's unreal. We are moving product out of Tanya Creek. 67,000 versus 35,000, 32,000 over budget. Tanya Creek, obviously, that's where we do everything, but what I like is better than last year, 37,000. That's what we look at. Keep growing. Headwear sales, 1,007 hats. That's a lot of hats out there. As it warmed up, we're selling. We have a look at that. We're over budget, which is good, by 11,000. Golf ball sales, rock and rolling as golf keeps going. Golfers need golf balls, and we're selling lots of them. 11,000 over. Men's apparel. This is a big one. Men's and women's apparel. If we can sell it, we get fresh stuff in there, and that's big. So we look there. Men's is over budget, 9,000. Women by 6, and our accessories by 9. It's a big thing. So as we move on to the next slide, this is something that, what did COVID teach us? All right, big thing. Let me back up a little bit. May, had a great May. 31. I'm gonna back up. I go too fast. Tom tells me every time. All right, in May, if we have a look at May, 31,000 by budget, 28 over, and this June is rocking as well. So it's a good deal. But what did COVID teach us? Fitting days. We used to have the Golf Fest, massive demo day. All vendors out there, everybody with beat balls. And we have a look. COVID came in, we couldn't do it, they wouldn't let us do it, we had to clean all the clubs, so we did personalized one-on-one fittings, brought all the vendors in, and they're the numbers as I showed you earlier. It's phenomenal. It's a good experience for our customer. They book their schedule, they come in. As you can read in the small notes there, it's not a circus anymore. And the biggest thing we notice is 17 was our best year with 18,000 for the day. Right now, after 9 small events, we have 42,000. That's a big difference. The biggest thing we noticed was one of the days it was 42 degrees and misting. We had no cancels, and we completed all sales for all 9 appointments. It was phenomenal. So that's a little shout out to what COVID taught us. Challenges moving forward, I just want to put that in there. It's a positive and it's a negative. We're doing a great job. We're finding a lot of stuff that's happening. Just the other day, I fitted a customer for clubs, turned the order in, 2 months wait for the customer because of getting the product in, putting it together. What we do is we do a good job. We set expectations for that customer. I reached out immediately and said, hang in there, 2 months, play with your clubs. When they come in, we'll let you know. So it's real good, but we have a look. One of our top golf ball companies is making 1 million golf balls a day, and they can't keep up. It's crazy. So we're a little worried as we move forward. Leslie and I talk quite a bit about when is this going to stop. We think probably middle of 2022, but shout out to the team that sells. And the biggest thing I want to do is shout out to the membership. It's your pro shops. You coming in, purchasing stuff. We're allowed to turn it quicker. You know, the last thing we'll do is see all our members running around in the same blue shirt or same green shirt and all looking the same, right? Tom, you don't look like me, right? Anyway, I appreciate you all. Any questions? And thank you for listening to me again. No questions?
Hey,
Thank you
Daryl,
all.
I actually have a question. I've been recently thinking about displays, you know, and we're kind of in the world of end caps and displays around here. And there's a number of businesses in the area that specialize in making sure products are presented in exciting ways. Seeing these numbers and seeing all this positive growth, and I've really only been in 2 of the pro shops, so I'm not quite sure what all of them look like or whatever. But you know, here are these images. You have the beautiful Fay Jones native stone spot to like outline things. Could you benefit from different displays? Is there ways that we can present this work?
That's a good question, and I'm going to jump in this, and I get emotional, I get excited. I do, and I'm just going to show you real quick here, Mike. We have a look at these displays right here that are created. There's your end cap, created with designs, specialized. So Leslie Terry came on board with us. She's been with us for 4 years. When we redid this pro shop, it gave us the opportunity to use her experience. She's been in the business 35 years, all over. She came, we were lucky to get her. We did it. We won an award. We went down to the PGA show and we won an award for what we did at the Country Club Pro Shop. So as we transition to fresher looking pro shops, stuff we can put back in, we create stuff like that that catches your eyes. I mean, that's where it is. So before COVID, we would go to 2 to 3 shows a year. We will all get together and Leslie goes to them, and that's where we learn stuff, what's working in the market, so it's phenomenal. So yes, we utilize it. We're not Walmart, but we do a lot of different stuff that creates it. If you walk in, I know Jan's one of our top shoppers, she walks in and she looks and goes, I like that display. But no, it's really cool. So I'm proud. We limited at some of our pro shops with space, and we've got a couple of ones that need a little redo. But as we do it, we make them look good and hopefully win more awards.
One more, Daryl. Do we support you enough through our online and digital marketing in this realm?
Good question. Yes, we do. Kim does a great job. Our email updates that go out every Friday, they publicize them, they get out. We run specials. We did Sweetheart specials, Valentine's Day, St. Patty's specials. That's where we rolled it out, and they're great. We've had a lot of other facilities in the area reach out to us and says, your marketing team, your email that you do every Friday, your blast, we don't have that. We just get a little piece of paper that you pick up from the pro shop. It's awesome what we do and what we share with our membership. So once again, I'm proud of the team. It shows. The numbers show too. Thank you. I'm going to go score a tournament.
Thank you.
great. He turned it off on me. All right, so following up on that, now let's talk about the financials for May. So another great month. Oh, I guess I got the clicker. So we'll talk about the POA first. I have some really great pictures on here. I have to point out that Tim with marketing did a great job getting me pictures, so I had to share them. So May. So revenue for May, $384,000 better than budget. Year-to-date, $899,000 better in budget. A couple key call-out departments that I wanted to point out. Legal was better than budget, top variance this month, $110,000 in May due to lot sales. Real estate is just booming. Food and beverage was also better than budget by $102,000 in May, and that makes them $226,000 year-to-date over budget, so we're better than budget. All three of our restaurants, again, were better than budget in May. Highlands at 12, Lake Point at 29, and Bar and Grill at 56,000. So just an exceptional revenue month for the POA as a whole. Other revenue variances to call out just some other areas, better than budget transfer fees, $223,000. So we had a little over 800 transfers in May. Daily green fees, $73,000. Cart rentals, $35,000. Dock fees, $15,000, and an RV park at $43,000. Some of the areas that we're still struggling a little bit were some budget. So our annual cart rentals are down $35,000. Annual green fees, $37,000. Our RV storage fee, $19,000. Activity cards, $16,000, and boat registrations, $12,000. If you look at the chart off to the right, you can kind of see year-to-date, we're at $9.29 million. Compared to last year, $7.69, so we're $1.6 million better than budget over last year as well. So again, just another outstanding month for the POA. So let's talk a little bit about expenses. So expenses were worse than budget for May by $98,000. So we're still better than budget year-to-date by $469. But if you remember, earlier in the year, we told you guys this was going to happen. You know, if you look at the chart at the bottom, about February, we were way below budget, and we said it's going to flip, and you see the flip this month. So just as expected, we're kind of catching up. So golf maintenance was kind of the leading department for expense variance this month. They would tell you that's not a good thing, but he was $125,000 year-to-date. Basically in the salaries and benefits, so $73,000 in unfilled positions. Some of that he'll keep because it's been unfilled, so it's always going to be a benefit for him. And then he has $40,000 in maintenance and repairs, and some of that's timing. So he's assuring me that he's going to make up for that in June. If we talk about EBITDA, so EBITDA better than budget for May by $232,000. So far through May, we are year-to-date better than budget by $1.2 million, and we're over last year by $1.4 million. So I mean, just an outstanding year. I would have never guessed it. I do want to shout out to Recreation. They are leading the variance for EBITDA at $226,000 for a department. So they're having an outstanding year as well. So if you look at the chart at the bottom for EBITDA, you can just see the yellow line is to 2021. And you can just see it's kind of trending the same as we've seen in the past, but it's well above both budget and last year. And another few key call-outs. So again, the restaurants had a positive EBITDA. This is 4 out of 5 months in 2021 that they've been positive. Highlands was $5,000, Lake Point $12,000, and the Bar and Grill $22,000. So again, bottom line was black for the month of May. Member services, I think we should call them out in that they did 3,455 guest passes in May compared to 1,200 in May of 2020. So a big month for member services. And if you guys remember, kind of at the end of last year, I was kind of talking about uncollectible accounts and some of the concerns and the really old stuff. So you'll see that our bad debt has dropped significantly. You'll see that when we look at expenses. We've had about 800 accounts that have fallen out of the uncollectible area and are now collectible through sales and lots and just a whole combination of things. But so it's the uncollectible accounts are looking really good. So expenses. So you can kind of see the graph. Worse than budget. Credit card fees, revenue's up, so your credit card fees are up. The election, some of that's timing just in the way we budgeted. And taxes and permits. So some of our taxes are up just from the lot sales and that type of thing. Better than budget, so which would be the arrow going down. Training and travel, we're below budget by 23. Maintenance and repairs, 104. Bad debt, which I just spoke about, which was 55. Advertising, 39. And then other, we have sales tax rebate of about 8. So some of that's timing as well. If you look at the chart again, it's just a comparison of year-to-date, budget, and kind of actual. So you can kind of see there's not any big gaps or any big differences to budget or to last year. So really kind of what was expected. So now we'll talk about the water. So for water is also having a good year. Revenue, so 2021 actual is 3.8 million compared to budget of 3.7. So they're better than budget by 91,000. Cost of goods is down by 24, which you would expect if their revenue's up. Then of course their water sales are going to be up, or water costs. Labor, they're better than budget by 26. Expenses are better than budget by 66. And of course EBITDA then's better than budget by 133. So again, they're looking really good. The chart at the bottom is EBITDA, just so you can kind of have a comparison of this year compared to budget and compared to last year. EBITDA for May was better than budget by 14,000, so they were better as well just for the month. In the revenue area, so new service lines are better than budget by 24,000 in May, which makes them 57,000 better year to date. Capital buy-in fees were better than budget by 28,000 in May and 63 year to date. Water sales are down a little bit to budget by 47 in May, but better than budget by 7 year to date. And then late fees are worse than budget by 3 in May and by year to date by 21. So let's talk a little bit about the loan. I'd said last month that we were going to kind of hold and see how the year came out, but we had such a great month of May that we went ahead and paid another $50,000 on the loan. So that brings us to making a payment this year of $330,000 year to date against our commitment of $280,000. Not a huge amount, but we still keep chipping away at it, and we'll just keep seeing how the year goes. The bottom chart is just kind of a comparison this year, last year, and year to date, so you can kind of just see what the numbers are doing: revenue, gross profit, expenses, and EBITDA for water. And then this is their expenses, same chart we looked at for the POA. Worse than budget, you're seeing their supplies are up by 5, equipment and tools by 5, and their credit card fees by 7. Better than budget, salaries and benefits are 26, maintenance and repairs 43, and training and travel 8. They're telling me some of that in the maintenance and repairs is probably timing, and some of the salaries is probably just late filling of positions, so will be true savings. So let's talk about consolidated. So consolidated EBITDA, so this is by department. So you can see that every department but Tom's was better than budget. So Tom missed by 92. But a lot of that is professional services in that area. The big general income at the bottom, that 389 that you're seeing, a lot of that is assessments, and that's where the transfer fees fall. So that's why you're seeing such a big income at the bottom. And all the rest of them are just the normal departments. You probably know what those are. So just our cash position at the end of May. So POA, unreserved cash, we're sitting at 1.9 million. The POA reserves, which is the commitment we made with the 2020 plan, we're at 315. It's just a little bit up from interest. Cash unrestricted is 3.7. The water restricted is the bond payment and the reserves we have for the bond, which is 900,000. And then I throw in the prepaid assessments, which is 1.7 million. And then this is the one pager. Again, I put that in there just kind of so you have it all in one place. But I think we've talked about everything that's on there, so I won't go back through all the numbers. Questions?
I have a couple. Thank you so much. These are so well presented, just night and day from a few years back. I was looking at some of the stuff there, and I was wondering, just even that last slide of like the commitment of savings and commitment to paying off the water loan. What's our hierarchy of needs and where to put that money? Is it better to have more in savings because of our commitment? Is it better to pay off the water loan? Which of these areas is more important to invest in for us? I'm not quite sure. I was surprised to see certain things like all the guest passes up, but all the activity cards down. So I'm wondering, since you spend so much time with all the numbers and you have a larger holistic look at it, where you think we should make a strategic investment?
So I would tell you that from a loan perspective, I would remind you that it's an intercompany loan. So that really is not going to, impact your investment piece because it's still all the POA's money. So whether you pay the water loan off or you don't, that's really a board decision, but from an investment standpoint, it's all in the same bank account. So that's kind of irrelevant to the investment side of it. So it's all sitting in the bank, if that answers that piece of it. As far as spending it versus investing it, I think that's kind of a board decision based on what you want to use the money for and where you want to go with it.
Oh, you gotta tell me, where do you see in one of these departments, you must see some opportunity for us. So like, I appreciate your ability to present all of our things, but I think that you have a lot more to offer to us at this juncture by also presenting us something that you feel like is an opportunity.
So can you ask me that in 6 months? Because I'm going through North Star right now. And I do have some really great ideas that I'd really like to bring back to you, but I'd really like to get through all this North Star stuff. Because I do think there are some places that we could do that, but I think I'd be short-sighted to share that right now with only a week's worth of knowledge and not going through the training. Is that fair?
And again, North Star is our computer
Our new software
updating.
system. Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. I mean, there's a ton of stuff I'd like to add, but I mean, obviously you got to prioritize. So I want to get through it and see where we can do it. And then, of course, I'll take that to Tom and you guys can decide. But yeah, you guys got a lot to think about with the new system.
I think most of us have lived through some software updates and, you know, we'll leave you alone. You take care of that.
Yeah. You just hold the money right now because I'll be back for it.
Okay.
Any other questions?
Stacy, I do have a question.
Okay.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, on your cash position slide, just for my understanding, when you show POA reserves, $315,000 from the 2020 commitment, what exactly does that mean?
So if you look back on the 2020 plan, we made a commitment to put back $1, with the assessment increase, $1 per paying lot to start rebuilding our reserves. Improved lot, to start rebuilding our reserves because we had to use so much of our reserves for the stump dump and stuff that was going on. So we took that $1 and we're putting it in a reserve and we're saving it. It's in a separate account. We're doing nothing with it but just letting those reserves grow until the board finds a need that they need to use those for down in the future.
So if I understand correctly, the $315,000, that is the amount that we committed to put in reserves, and that is what we have done. Is that correct?
That brings us through this year, yes.
Yes,
yeah.
okay,
And
thank
then we'll
you.
have to start doing it again next year. Other questions?
Thank you, Stacy. Next up, last month's open forum, there were no comments or questions. So this month, we have one member who wishes to speak. Dan Dunn?
Does this work? Yes. Hi, I'm Dan Dunn. The reason I came tonight is twofold. The first purpose is to thank you all for the pickleball courts that you put in at Branchwood. It really took a big load off of all the court use that we had. At Metfield, we were way overcrowded, and now by having 2 locations, it's really helped a lot. Having said that, there is room there for 2 more courts, and it's all been graded, and it's under the lights, and it would make sense to add 2 more courts there. So I'm not coming complaining. First of all, I want you to know that we're really excited that you took care of us with the 4 courts. But I just wanted to just bring it to everybody's attention that there's still a need, because with the new courts, we've had a lot more people show up. And there's been some beginner classes and some people have taken part of that, and that's really increased the amount of participation. So in the future, if you would consider that, that would be great. That's all I have. Thank you.
I guess that's a case of if you build it, they will come. So, Tom, you have a response?
Yeah, I don't know if you're aware, but the board is actually going to consider a vote. That's actually the next item on the agenda of of potentially approving the 2 additional courts.
Okay, well, I just looked at Dan, we'll vote on it.
And they say we don't listen.
You know, maybe I should come more often. No, that'd be great. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Dan. Okay, as stated, the next item up is the proposed addition of 2 pickleball courts at Branchwood in the area denoted.
So on page 72 of your board packet, we're talking about the addition of 2 additional courts, and I'll direct you to the screen, and you'll see this is satellite imagery. This is the old tennis courts. So this image is a little bit old, and the new pickleball courts are actually located more to the left side, and that leaves a nice open area to the right side, where 2 additional courts can fit very nicely. We got some pricing on that, and it's to add 2 additional courts. The base work, concrete, fencing, surfacing is $47,500. The cost per court has gone up, along with all the other costs of anything else you want to do or build these days. And I'm also pleased to announce that we've been approached by an anonymous donor that is willing to put in a shade cover, a bench. We want to add a drinking fountain there, a number of things. So it's very generous of this anonymous donor. And so we're asking the board to consider the possibility of expending $47,500 to build the 2 additional courts, and our anticipation is to have this work completed by year's end. Any questions?
Okay, first thing we need is a motion to do this. Do I have a motion?
I move to add 2 additional pickleball courts to Branchwood for a total cost of $47,500. And that would include the base work, concrete, fencing, and surface.
Thank you, Jan. A second?
Yep.
Sandy Fosdick seconds. Okay, now, is there any discussion?
Just got one question. We had talked last time about the ice machine and the water. Is
Yeah,
there any
I mentioned that.
Yeah, I heard you say, is that final? We can do it? Do we
Yeah,
do
we're
that?
gonna, yes, I got the green light from the water department.
Good, and it'll still work in the winter? I know that was a concern.
I don't have an answer to that question just yet.
Okay.
I do have one other question there was some question about the fencing. Will the existing 4 be fenced off from the new 2, or will it be all 6 in one fence?
Actually, I do not know the answer to that question. We're still working through the planning. My goal is to have it one integrated. I would like it that you don't go up to the courts and see, oh, it was 4 courts plus 2. I prefer to have it all integrated. So that is our goal that I've asked them to accomplish. They have not indicated any hesitancy in that, but I can't give you a definitive yes at this time.
There was
Okay,
one
I just thought that
suggestion-
maybe if we
Sorry, go ahead.
use the existing fencing, it might actually save a little bit of money too, if we could just extend it to the outside. So it sounds good.
And I've also made sure, one of your requests, Sandy, was to make sure that we have an access point for each court, and they said yes, they can make sure that happens.
And if it is possible to kind of separate the other 2 courts from the 4 courts as opposed to having 3 right next to each other, those other 2 courts could possibly be used for like when people are playing ladders, and competing, that possibly those 2 courts could be reserved for a certain amount of time, and then the other 4 are open play. So I don't know that you necessarily want to take that whole fence out. Balls go sideways,
Yeah, this is true.
ball on.
And
So-
they keep on, yeah, I agree.
My comment was exactly Sandy's about having 3 different access points so that you don't have to cross courts
Right.
to enter the facility.
Agreed.
Okay, Looks like we're no other comments. We're ready to vote. All those in favor, raise your hand. I see 9-0. Next item is the. Boy, now that's good service. Okay, next item.
On page
Budget.
74 of your board packet is the 2022 budget calendar, and yes, we are talking about 2022 already, but we need to get the committees working on their recommendations. On page 75, you will see the recommended calendar, and to remind everybody, this is 3 budgets that we will be preparing for the board and the community, which is the capital budget, the operating budget, and the financial budget, or also known as the cash flow budget. Any questions regarding that?
Okay, I'd ask for a motion to approve that schedule.
I make a motion that we accept the 2022 budget calendar as presented.
Thank you, JB. A second? See a second from Tia. All those in favor? It's unanimous. Okay. Next item.
Next item on your budget, in your board packet is the trails proposal, which is on page 76, and we have a presentation. This is the same presentation we've presented to the board a few times. So the first proposed improvement is the Rillington Family Loop. This is on the east side of our community. This would add a flat trail system. While we have 100 miles of trails, we don't have a lot of flat trails. In the central portion of our community, we have Tweety Bird, which is a 2-mile loop, relatively flat, and it's used quite a bit, but we don't have one on the east side. So this would add quite a bit of flat trailheads for those two trailhead locations for this area. There's not a lot of homes in this area. There's property, but there's not a lot of homes in this area. And this would be in addition to the existing Back 40 trail. And this was also contemplated all the way back on April 2015. So this is not necessarily a new proposal. It's been thought about for quite some time. What I also like about this trail is it will accept adaptive bikes. So people with different handicaps would be able to utilize this trail system. In addition to the handicap mountain biking, this is great. My wife and I go to Tweety Bird with the dogs. We can walk side by side. It's a very nice place to go and have a nice walk. So this would allow the same thing on the east side. I'm sorry, any questions? I don't want to jump ahead, although the board has seen this a couple times. Feel free to stop me at any time. The next one is the Lake Ann. And I want to remind everybody, if you look at where the black dotted line on the upper corner and this blue line, that's approximately where the sinkhole is. But we've had studies done. They did the LIDAR testing to make sure that the sinkhole is not penetrating in on the other side of the road. This is a very popular area to go up. This boxed area where the dotted line is where an outstanding bridge is and just a great view. And so we get a lot of people that park on the road, right next to the road, and kind of clog this area. This parking area would be below the foot of the dam. We spoke with the state inspector to make sure that they would be fine with this, and they did not have an issue. So this is a second request of the board. The next one is, we're going to call this Birchdale West, but if you see down here in the corner, this is where Casey's is located, and over here is where the dermatologist is located. And right now, what we're having is that people are parking at Cunningham Corner, and we really don't want them to, as even though we have a trail a half mile up the road, they're parking where they want to park. This would accomplish three goals. First of all, there is a crossing across the road right around here. Actually, you can see that white line right there. That's the current crossing. They would add a tunnel here, which would get people off the road, which would be a really good thing. This does not necessarily need approval of the board because it's in the city's right of way. This area here, the shaded area, would be a parking lot, so it would get people away from parking in Cunningham Corner. And then the last portion would be to improve the existing golf cart trail and make this a all-weather surface. Once again, it would be flat trails, giving people the ability to walk in a loop, which would be great. They can go over to the other side, which a lot of people already walk on the other side, but unfortunately they're probably parking in Allen's parking lot, which is not necessarily good. This trailhead was also contemplated all the way back in 2015, but it would be, in my opinion, a nice addition to the community and give our residents some great flat walking area. And here's some additional pictures. It would be a wider trail once again. And as we have talked about previously, guaranteed no cost to the POA for a minimum of 3 years with these proposals. What the requirement would be is for Lake Ann, it would require board and city approval. For Rillington, it would require board and city approval. For Birksdale West, would only require board approval because that would be part of the Little Sugar system, which is currently under construction and not yet completed. So those are the proposals and questions.
Okay, first thing we're going to need is motions so that we can discuss.
I have a quick question. The city hasn't yet approved. They would be after us?
They would be after us. Last time when we did an approval, they went before us, and that created some consternation in the community where people thought that it was a foregone conclusion. So this time we did the reverse.
Okay.
Okay, does somebody want to make a motion on one of these?
I make a motion to authorize the creation and execution of an agreement to develop the Rillington Family Loop Adaptive Trail and 2 trailheads.
Thank you, Tia.
What is the timeline for doing the spillway and the sinkhole, filling all that in?
That's a great question, and I don't have all the answers. We still are getting all the bids for the spillway work. Then we have to go out, bids from the engineering firm, then the engineering firm has to do their work, then we have to go out to bid. So you're talking, this could be into 2022 before this work is potentially undertaken and completed. So it could be a while.
So what would be the timeline for Trailblazers to do the trailhead?
I think they were contemplating sooner than that. I could definitely have a conversation with them about delaying that. I don't think that they would have an issue. First time I've heard of it, so I haven't talked to them about it. Or we can just make it a requirement of the board could approve it and just say, but you can't start till later. That's possible. Keep in mind that the city still has to do their part, so they have to get their approval. That's not going to take as many months as the spillway.
Okay, seeing no other comments, I'll call the motion. All those in favor, raise your hand. Opposed? Jan Sims, Sandy Fosdick, opposed. And I'd like a motion on the third proposal. Jan?
I make a motion to authorize the creation and execution of an agreement to develop Birchdale West all-weather family loops and trailhead off Reardon Road.
Thank you. And a second?
I'll second.
JB seconds. Okay, comments on this one? Who wants to go first? Jerry Barron.
This is the one that I see we need a trailhead there. The tunnel would be beneficial. I'm not quite sold on making it a trail that's not, I don't even think it's a mile around. Is it a mile?
I don't think it is. Why don't you keep talking and I'll give you an answer in just a moment.
Okay, well, I'm not quite sold on both of these projects at the same time. If you split them and do the trailhead and the tunnel, I'm all for it, but I'm not gonna give up Birchdale at this time.
Okay. Anyone else? Mike?
Go ahead.
You know, when I look at this project, I kind of look at it as the trailhead, and then I kind of look at it as a beautiful path to the creek. Yes, I do feel like there will be a fair amount of cycling on it, but I mean at less than a mile or whatever it is, it's
Looks to be about 2,700 feet.
yeah. I mean, it's maybe cool for the toddlers or people that just want to take it slow and kind of feel it out. But I feel like this is the new Lake Bella Vista solution, really, because of Lake Bella Vista being compromised and being able to do the loop over there, which has been a decades-long tradition of Bella Vista walkers. I think this gets you scratches that same itch and puts it a heck of a lot closer to the interior of town and definitely next to all the hospitality offerings, or at least our largest concentration of kind of going out, where I feel like it'll be one of those, hey, let's go walk there and go to our restaurants, afterwards or before. I love the thought of bringing people to Sugar Creek. I don't really think of it as a cycling forward project, although I really do think that we don't need to be playing Frogger over Reardon Road. And I do think a tunnel would be wise to have there to eliminate that kind of danger. But I'm stoked to walk around that beautiful chunk of land and look at the creek. So I'm for it. Kind of to some of Jerry's stuff, I'm almost for it in the opposite way. I'm like, build me the walking path so the community has something, and we'll make do on the trail thing. And what's a bigger value add for my hierarchy of needs for Bella Vista is another flat walking path for everybody. So to me, that trumps almost everything else. I'm just like, that's what we need. So that's my stance.
Okay, thank you, Mike. Sandy?
I'm not opposed to a tunnel there because I do think that cars go quickly down Reardon Road, so I'm not opposed to that. I am definitely opposed to licensing a extremely valuable, I know we don't agree on this, David, but I believe that's an extremely valuable piece of land. And, as I've stated twice before, there are several golf clubs in the area that are closing down because, not closing the course, but are no longer taking memberships because they're full. And I don't know where in the world we're going to find land if someday in the future we need more golf capacity. I don't know where we're going to find it. We don't have the Moark property. We're starting to get landlocked. I've not heard that Cooper is interested in putting another course out west in the land that they own there. So, and I know that a prior board decided to close the course, but I do believe things have changed in the last 5 years. I was reading an article about national golf trends. 14 million millennials learned how to play golf last year. I don't know if any of those are here in Northwest Arkansas, but my guess is there's probably some, especially looking at the numbers of how much equipment is being sold. I'm guessing some of those are younger people, and I think we need to be poised to be able to provide the members with those amenities. I don't think that we've done very little of the work that could be done to mitigate some of Sugar Creek's problems with the floods coming through. And fortunately, this year we've only had one flood event. So I'm not thoroughly convinced that Burksdale, especially Burksdale South, that does not flood. And this is attached then, and I know this little section floods, but if they can put a walking trail in there, we certainly can have a golf cart path there. And I would really like to see somebody step up and fix the mess down at Lake Bella Vista. You know, that bears our name, even though it's not even part of Bella Vista. And if they can put a walking path in this area that floods, somebody could certainly put a walking path in Lake Bella Vista that won't wash away in a flood. So I'm opposed to this.
Anybody else? Jan?
You know, we've just approved a walking path essentially for the east side of the village that's needed, and so that families can enjoy that. We do have a walking path below the dam heading up towards the Highlands. This would be one right in the middle. This would be very accessible to both sides. I am totally supportive of golf operations. I was, as you know, the director of the Palm Springs First Tee program, and I believe in golf for just educating young people about life skills. But I really see this as something different. I don't see it as taking away from something that doesn't exist now and would be problematic in the future. I think that it would really meet the needs of, amenity needs of our population now. So I would be supportive of this.
Thank you. Tia?
I want to be supportive of this because we all know that's a great location. It's great for the families. It's great in so many ways. But when I stop and think about what's best for the members and really just put that in the forefront, I have an issue with putting a trailhead there because it feels like we're fixing a city problem. We've done our part. We have a trailhead right up the road. It seems like some education might be necessary, not fixing the problem with another trailhead. Fully support the tunnel. I think we should do it, absolutely. The loop, I'm not seeing it in the best interest of the members to feel like we're piecemealing something together that doesn't have a full forward thought out plan of what's gonna go in the middle of the loop, what's gonna happen with the rest of Burksdale. And until we step up as board members and start making those plans of what the full big picture is gonna be, which I know we are in the future, we're working towards that. But as of right now, I just can't support something without a full game plan of how it's gonna play out together.
One other thing I would like to add is that if we were to put the path in there, we are giving them a 25-year licensing agreement. That's an awfully long time, and we have not done long-range planning in over 4 years, and I think this is something that should be tabled for the long-range planning. I'm not opposed to the tunnel. I think that, I believe Tom said it, they can do that without us voting on it. The trailhead looks like it goes terribly close to the old cart path, so I would be concerned about any part of that parking lot that they want being on the Burksdale West golf course. So, and I'm also curious, is our plan to take down the fence that runs behind those businesses?
No.
That was never contemplated. No.
Any other comments?
I have a comment. Listening to the discussions today, I have parents I walk with frequently in their 80s, and it is very limited choices to walk in small loops with benches. And I think this meets a wonderful need for that, along with families with small children. But listening to the discussion, I think there's some very valid points. Is there any way that we possibly could have this be a changed proposal to be the trailhead and the tunnel and postpone the actual trail itself, or would that be possible to be considered?
You'd have to vote on the original motion, and then someone else would have to make a new motion, as you stated, Jackie. But there's a first and a second on the table, and you'd have to vote on that first.
Okay.
So just to clarify, we could vote it opposed right now, amend it, and vote again.
Yes, you could do a new motion.
Okay, just to be clear, we are not voting on the tunnel. We're not voting on the tunnel. Tunnel's going to happen. So,
I'll just bring up one thing. If we're really worried about future plans of this, and we're got some angst about the licensing agreement for a certain amount of time, or a certain set of infrastructure potentially fouling a future plan that we don't have yet, I don't think we have to go with this multi kind of chip and seal path, that they're proposing, which is like a pavement. I mean, there could be pretty much an etched in dirt path that has very little infrastructure to it, and give a taster's choice of it. The chip and seal is the gold package. That's some serious cheddar. So like proposing the chip and seal path, it was a significant investment in this proposal. But if we're agitated about like permanent infrastructure like that, I don't think we have to have that, and it still provides a lot of things that allows all those people to use it. But some of Jackie's concerns about folks that are shuffling these days, and well, the chip and seal path's a lot safer, and it allows for canes and rollers and wheelchairs and all that, and strollers and all those things that you need for that. Of all the trail proposals we've seen this evening, this one to me has the highest community value to me. I feel like the other trailheads they're nice. They're specifically that. They're a trailhead. They're to tie into other cycling infrastructure. Where I feel like this is more of a universal amenity piece, and much different than what we've seen with the previous two proposals, which we seem to like. I don't feel like we're giving up anything, and I don't feel like this proposal is dealing with an actor that would make future negotiations hard on us. If I was anticipating that this was some thorn in the future, then I think my spidey sense would be up, but I don't feel that way.
okay. I will weigh in on this issue. Having been sitting on the board when the water study was done of the entire valley, it was made very clear to us that that is not a good place for a golf course. It will be a continual money sinkhole. I can show you so many places along there where Sugar Creek is eating away slowly at the bank. And it does affect how you can put a golf course in there. So on the positive side, I see this particular addition as being 2,700 yards, 2,700 feet.
Yes.
Okay, that's 900 yards. That's a little over a half mile. I see this as being extremely popular walking. I don't see a lot of bicycles on this. I see people walking just to get outside on a nice flat trail. It's actually less than if you hop on at Allen's and walk to the north and walk back. It's not any farther than that. It's just one little loop. So I think this would be extremely popular. That being said, if somebody wants to make a motion to amend to exclude the all-weather family loop, we can consider that. You can make a motion to exclude that from our consideration. We'll have a second, and then we will vote on that, and we'll see, and then we can go on from there with the original motion. So is there somebody who would make a motion to?
I have a question first. The trailhead parking, would it be on any of the golf course land?
Well, yeah, I mean, that.
It's
when
going to
that
go
was-
right up to the cart path, virtually.
Yeah, I mean.
Can you pull up the PowerPoint? Does it show the shaded area that's?
I think, Jen, that you'll find that what is being proposed as a parking trailhead is outside of the golf cart path that exists today in the state that exists. So it's kind of long and narrow.
So here's the cart path, the existing cart path, which would be turned into the all-weather, and then here's the parking area. It was in play. I mean, you could have hit the ball in that direction. So-
I've hit golf balls up there. They don't always go where they're supposed to. So, yeah,
So
if that were to become a golf course again, Jan, I think that something would have to be done about that area because it's, it would be considered in play. I think the golf course architect told us there's something like a 15-degree rule. Most golf balls don't stray more than 15 degrees. Well, that's within 15 degrees, I think. So, in answer to your question, yeah, you could hit a car parked there.
And as a follow-up, is there anybody out there that are keeping people from walking the cart path as it exists right now? So there is a walking trail there.
Yeah, I mean, most of the people walk on the other side of the road. I think it's just easier to park at Allen's. I think it's it's easier to park at Allen's and walk on that area. I think it would potentially change because this would have easier parking to get to the walking area.
David, I would like to, I know we've got to vote on it because we have a motion and a second on the floor, but I would like to postpone this for a little more discussion, to give us an opportunity to go out and talk to people about this and see how they feel. And that would maybe answer the ones that need it or want it.
That's always an option. We can vote to amend it. We can vote to table it. That's an option. We don't have to vote yes or no today. It can be tabled. But somebody has to make a motion to do that, and then it needs 5 votes. So I'm waiting for motions.
I make a motion that we table this vote on Burksdale West, the trailhead and the loop.
Is there a second?
Second.
Terry? Okay. We have a motion to table. Do you want to discuss it, or do you want to just vote? Jan?
What about the first motion?
Just a question.
Well, there-
If we table it, is there a timeline, I'm asking procedurally just because I don't know, if we table this so that we can talk to other people and try to get the sense of where our community is there any timeline for us to bring it back, or nothing was included in the motion, so I didn't know whether in 6 months we will come back, or in 3 months we'll come back, or are we effectively voting just to kill it? Because that could impact my vote.
Right, no, there's nothing stipulated in the motion, so I would make the assumption that Jerry and Tom and I would put it on the GM agenda for July.
Good with that.
There, we got 2 votes, it's on the agenda. If it gets tabled, it's on the agenda. Okay, so now we will vote on the motion to table. JB?
Who's going to go out and do all this work? Who's going to ask the members? How's that going to happen? And can that happen before the July meeting?
I think it's incumbent upon us as board members to reach out to members that we are able and come back to the meeting and report. Scientific? No way. But it's just touching base with the membership, to see how they feel about it. We have to assume that as conscientious board members, we will present both sides of this question when we ask people. It's not a simple yes or no. There's some things to consider here. So, if you ask somebody, please be prepared to present both sides and see what people think. So, okay.
Can we
now,
put out a call on our social medias for input?
Okay, now we're going to vote on the motion to table. All those in favor of tabling the motion signify by raising your hand. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It's tabled. Okay.
Who's opposed?
You still have to ask.
Oh, I have to ask
You
who's
still
opposed?
have to ask.
All those opposed?
3.
3. Okay. Next item up is a change in scope and cost increase on a project that's previously been approved. This has
Okay,
to
on
do
page 77 of your board packet, you'll see, and I'm trying to get there. In your 21 capital budget, we had $110,000 allocated for bridge stabilization and creek bank stabilization of the bridge right here on your screen, at number 5 Country Club. We hired Craft and Tull Engineering to do this work. They came back to us and said, once they were in the creek bed and so forth, that the damage and the erosion was more than they had originally contemplated. On top of that, costs have gone way up, and as a result, we're now looking at a total cost of $210,000 instead of the original $110,000. If you look at the bridge in the photo here, I'm going to zoom in just a little bit, you'll see this little indent here, and what's happening is the stream is plowing through this area and is going to eventually wash out this area and also probably wash out over here. We're less concerned about the bridge. This bridge does not have any piers in the stream bed. So what this work would do would be to stabilize both sides of the creek bed and some bridge work. And as I also wanted to make sure that I indicated that just the cost of construction have gone up as they have gone for everything else. Since this is a change in scope by policy, it requires a vote of the board.
I have a question. I understand basically firming it up on this side. What are we gonna do with the opposite side there? That whole peninsula is gonna disappear eventually too. 'Cause it's
Yeah.
low, very low.
Exactly. They're gonna have to shore up, they're gonna have to put in riprap along this area
No, I mean
also.
the other
I'm
side.
sorry. This side?
Yes.
That is not currently part of the project. It's just the bridge side area. You're right, this area is going to eventually go away. But this is kind of, we talked about this at the work session. We repair this area, and then we have other areas, and what we're trying, it doesn't necessarily go away, it's just, we try and shift it. And if it does shift to the other side, that's not so bad, as long as it's not impacting that bridge. The nearest, I'm gonna pull out here, you'll see that that's POA property, so if it carved into that, that's not gonna be an issue. That's pretty far away from the nearest home. But you're right, unless we rock it all the way down, the entire way, which would be cost prohibitive, we're shifting problems from areas that we don't want it to happen to areas that, okay, we're not happy about it, but we'd rather it happen down there.
I think if it rounds off that area that you're talking, if it rounds that off, the water flow is more gentle and it creates fewer problems. Because when the water has to make a sudden change in direction, that's when it gets destructive. So if it rounds that off, I think that's to our advantage. So, okay, do I have a motion for this?
Well, I just have one other question. Isn't there also I know that we need to fix this area, but on that other side that we're talking about, isn't there some vegetation that could also be planted that would help prevent the bank from washing away on that other side? Would that be not much cheaper than riprap?
I don't know the answer to that question. I mean, I can definitely ask Keith about trying to vegetate that area to see if it'll hold it together. We've seen in the flooding that it's overwhelming even small vegetation and trees and so forth. But I'll talk to him about it. But I don't know that answer to that question.
Okay, can I have a motion?
I motion to approve the increase in cost of $210,000 and change in scope for the bridge on Country Club 5.
I'll second.
Jerry seconds. JB motion. Jerry seconds. Okay. Is there any other discussion? I'll call for the vote then. All those in favor of changing the scope? On 9-0. I don't have to ask for any nays.
All right. On page 78 of your board package, you'll see recommendations from each of the committees. Just a reminder that the committees submit their recommendations on the addition of committee members or the re-upping of committee members, but ultimately it is the authority of the board. On these, you'll notice them towards the bottom on the suggested motions. We do them one at a time. Just to make it easier. So these are the recommendations for Lakes Committee is Rick Yorman to serve another 3-year term. For the Golf Committee, Ruth Hatcher, this would be her initial term. And for the Recreation Committee, Macy Eccles, and full disclosure, Macy is the spouse of Rick Eccles. They are property owners. Mary Jones, Deborah Lockett, Steve Gardner, all for 3-year terms.
Okay, do I have a motion one at a time for the committees?
I motion to accept the nomination of the Lakes Joint Advisory Committee of Rick Yorman for another 3-year term to the committee.
Thank you, Tia.
I second.
JB seconds. Any discussion? All those in favor? 9-0. I have a motion for the golf JAC.
Yeah, I'll make a motion to accept the nomination of the Golf Joint Advisory Committee of Ruth Hatcher for a 3-year term to the committee.
Thank you, Jerry.
Second.
Second by Tia. All those in favor? 9-0. And one more?
I'll practice my voice. I motion to accept the nomination of the Recreation Joint Advisory Committee of Macy Eccles, Mary Jones, Deborah Lukoch, and Steve M. Gardner, each for 3-year terms for the committee.
Thank you, Mike. A second?
Second.
JB seconds. Any questions? All those in favor? There we go, 9-0. Welcome those people to the committees. I know they'll do a good job. Okay, that brings us to the end of our published agenda. The announcements. Rules and Regulations Committee will have its first meeting July 1st at 3 p.m. right here in the boardroom. The next GM meeting Thursday, July 8th at 2:30 p.m. in the boardroom. This is a closed meeting. The Lakes JAC is Wednesday, July 14th at 2 p.m. right here. The Golf JAC is later, Wednesday, July 14th at 4 p.m. right here in the boardroom. The work session, the Board of Directors work session, Thursday, July 15th, 9 a.m. in the boardroom at the Country Club, and also live stream. The Recreation Joint Advisory Committee meeting is Monday, July 19th at 4 p.m. in the boardroom right here at the Country Club. That is a date change. That just almost never happens after Lakes and Golf, but this month it will. And the Board of Directors regular session Thursday, July 22nd at 6 p.m. in the boardroom at the Country Club and via live stream.
Hold on. And we have one more addition. On July 1st at 3 o'clock will be the first meeting of the Rules and Regulations Committee. He said that. We wanted to make sure everybody was aware of that important meeting.
You Rules and Regs people better show up. You've been notified twice. Okay, that brings us to the end of our agenda. JB?
I have a quick procedural question. Not that it's happening anytime soon, but it could, for those of us that are new. How do we submit our proxies for voting in writing? Or how do we handle that if we don't happen to be at a meeting and there's a vote to be taken?
We have a form. You write
It is
email.
in writing. Okay, and we
Get it
send
to
that
Tammy.
to Tammy. Okay,
Yeah.
good.
Okay, thank you.
You can email it.
Yeah,
but
we
just
take
need paper.
emails.
Gotcha.
Do I have a motion to adjourn?
Second.
Jan Sims. Who was first? Mike? Mike made the motion to adjourn. Jan Sims seconded the motion. And I'm going to call for a vote. All in favor? I think it's unanimous. We are adjourned. Turn off your microphones.